Namaste, my dear friends. Namaste, Janaki. How are you doing?
Namaste, Kausthub. I'm great, and namaste to all of you there, whoever is there, and so nice to see you here. And thank you so much for calling me onto this platform, which I don't know whether I really deserve to be here, but I really feel good and honored to be here on this platform. Thank you so much for calling me. Thank you.
You more than deserve, Janaki. So, namaste, my dear friends, and greetings to all of you from around the world who are watching with us either live or you will watch it later. Very, very nice. Welcome to all of you. Today we are doing our 11th interview with Mrs. Janaki Srivatsa, who is now currently living in Mysuru. There's something very special about this interview because she is going to be the first Indian woman living in India doing this interview. We have actually interviewed one Indian woman, but she is living in the UK. So we are very, very happy to interview an Indian in India for this series called Viniyoga Women. We will begin with a chant that Janaki will do for all of us. And then we will start this wonderful interview. So please, Janaki, you can start chanting now. Namaste.
Namaste. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnan Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you so much, Kausthub, for bringing me here. And yeah, I think we hope to spend a great 1 hour together. And in this pandemic, it's great to catch up, whichever platform it's possible.
Yes, I would have been more happy if we were both sitting in our school and making this.
Oh, yes, certainly. I really miss that environment and the class and the teaching, and the group, everything I miss a lot, yes.
Anyway, so my dear friends, Janaki is actually from India. Originally, she is, I think, from Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
But now she is living in Karnataka. She used to be a professor of economics in the university in Coimbatore. And then she discovered yoga and she has done our teacher training program. I think she started 6 or 7 years ago, if I remember. And she graduated with wonderful success. And she is now teaching yoga to students in India. So we are very, very privileged to have her here for our conversation today on the Shri Shakti, which is our conversations with the great woman of Viniyoga. So Janaki, my first question to you is, can you please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and especially your introduction to the Viniyoga tradition, how you came here?
Yeah, okay. And I studied to be a teacher and I started teaching economics by 21 years, right at higher secondary school, what we call class 12 and 13. And then I moved to colleges and yoga came to my life much later. And my earliest stints with yoga were very brief. And the first one was when I was 32 or 33 in Mysuru here, right here. We were living here then. And I just decided, because if you're from India and if you're not doing yoga, you feel slightly guilty about it. Because yoga is all around you in India. So I just tried to enroll in a neighborhood school and I went and joined. The first class I still remember. I guess it was a senior batch. And I just hardly did anything practical. I just stood there waiting. And the instructor is go with the flow, go with the flow. And the next class, I was in the last row. And the third class, I was out of the school because I just couldn't figure out anything what was happening there. And I said, this is not my cup of tea. This was when I was about 38 or something. And my second stint was 2014. That class went slightly better for about a month. And I slowly moved from the last row to the second row, something on those lines. One particular incident happened there when we were doing a very fast-paced Surya Namaskar. And without my knowledge, I did exhalation through my mouth. And it so happened that I was in the front row, and the instructor came down very heavily on me. He said, if you're going to breathe through your mouth, you've got to be in gym, not in yoga school. So the next class, I was in the last row, and then I was out. So then I decided this is not my cup of tea. I better keep quiet. And it was one of, I think the meeting with you was a chance meeting, I should say, because I got introduced to you through our common friend Shailaja Menon. She was my high school student, actually. I taught her economics in school, class 11. And we got connected almost after 20 years, more than 25 years through Facebook. And you were in her contact. And casually, I exchanged messages with you. And when you said, when you knew that I'm a teacher, you said, are you a yoga teacher? I'm like, no. I rushed to say, no, I'm not. Because I still had the, the memory of the past memories with me. And then you asked me whether I'm aware of your school. I said, no, I've not even heard of your school. You never said anything. You just passed some literature to me, and that was the last. I don't know, something happened, it happened to be Vijayadashmi Day. Normally on Vijayadashmi, I think our friends on line will know that it is a very auspicious occasion in India, and any learning begins generally on Vijayadashmi Day in India. So I don't know, I kept thinking about it and said, there must be something, kept drawing me back to that small chat that we had. And there was this teachers training batch coming up in soon, and it was an international batch. Once again, I had my own doubts in my mind. Oh my God, Western students and their yoga skills, everybody knows. And I had only the knowledge of yoga as asana, asana as yoga, nothing beyond that. But I don't know, something made me enroll and I signed up, and no turning back after that. So this is my beginning to Viniyoga. I think I'm extremely lucky and blessed because a lot of people go through a lot of different schools and spend a lot of years reaching the best of things, and then feeling not happy, they move to this school. But I was extremely lucky that my first extensive stint is with Viniyoga tradition. So I think I have my Guru's blessing and some guidance, divine guidance to enroll here. And yeah, that's how my journey began with Viniyoga.
That is so great because we share this in common. I also have not gone to any other tradition.
It's impossible you go to another tradition, Kausthub. It's difficult. With the kind of a lineage that you come from, it's not possible.
I can, but I don't want to because I find whatever I need in the Viniyoga tradition.
Right.
That brings us to the second question. In your view, what is it that is so unique in the Viniyoga tradition that you are still continuing and still being part of it? What is it that is so unique?
Yeah, well, there are plenty of them that differentiate the Viniyoga tradition from the modern yoga tradition or modern yoga, whatever you call it. But the first on top of the list, I would put it as one-to-one teaching, because I feel everybody's body is different, capability is different, age is different. They come from a different background and what they are made of and their mental framework, everything is different. I think it's just not right to put some 10 students together and teach them the same thing. I think it's not even scientific because we are working with our body, with our mind, with our breath. I don't think it is right to, teach the same for all. I don't think it is the right thing. And one thing that stands out in this tradition is that it's a personalized teaching. Yatha-Shakti, what you call, whatever best one can do, you teach accordingly. You're not going to push things on them because you know something. That is the first thing I feel. What we call, if you talk about a textile industry, even today there are hundreds of showrooms where you can walk in and come out with a suit, but you still go for a bespoke, and that is why the specialists, the servile row people are still in business and they are considered very prestigious. So I feel any art or anything that is going to have a personalized training is very good. I feel that. It is scientific too, as far as yoga is concerned. Apart from that, there are plenty of them because only after joining this school, I realized asana is just one part of yoga. There are a lot more other things to yoga other than this. Unfortunately, the world has been only with asana. If it is in my hands, Kausthub, I will print on t-shirts saying that yoga is more than asana and distribute it all over the world. I feel the awareness should increase. It is getting better, but I think a lot of schools are still going with only asana. And the yoga magazines, I think, still highlight the posture of some slim looking girl. Or yeah, I have mentioned this earlier also in one of my blogs. That has to change. Yoga is for all. That is what I feel is something that is giving you that the comfort is this school or this tradition rather, I call it.
I think it's a great idea. We should talk to the WHO and tell that every time person gets vaccinated, they get your free T-shirt.
I seriously feel that because a lot of even when people talk about yoga, they say I teach yoga and pranayama. I want to rush to tell them that pranayama is part of yoga, but I withdraw saying that okay, it's not their fault because that is the norm, outside nowadays. And a lot of people don't even I did not know till I joined this tradition that yoga asana is just a part of yoga, and you have a lot more to that. Uh, so I always get these funny ideas that it has to be canvassed through the world that yoga is much more than asana.
That's very correct. That's very correct. And that's why it's also, the world is now slowly opening the eyes because many people who have been practicing asana for 20, 30 years are not finding what they are looking for in yoga. So they are looking somewhere deeper. They want to come more deeper. So I'm sure I'm sure it will come in the right time when the world is ready.
That's right. That's very, very true.
So Janaki, I have another wonderful question for you. Thanks to your inspiration, because you've been a teacher in your past life. You've been an economics teacher, and now you are a yoga teacher. What are the similarities between the two professions of teaching yoga and teaching economics, and what are the differences, if I may say? And then I have a follow-up question to that based on responses.
Okay. See, if you're a teacher, you're always a teacher. Once you're a teacher, they say you're always a teacher. When you're teaching an academic subject, especially in a college or university, you are given the syllabus, handed over the syllabus, and you're supposed to be prepared for that. And you go to the class, you're given a stipulated hours, and there are a set of students sitting there, and you've got to impart the knowledge. What happens there? Some may be genuinely interested, some may not even like the subject, but they have no choice but to sit through the paper because they have got to clear the examination. And you just go and quickly try to complete the syllabus. It's more important that you finish the syllabus. And what happens? But of course, the common thing is you need to know what you're teaching in both areas. Two, communication is very important in both yoga teaching as well as your academic teaching. Number three, psychology part of the students you need to be a little aware of. It's very important that you are not standing there in isolation doing whatever you've got to do. Even if you are given the syllabus, even if it is an hour given to you, sometimes the students mentally may not be ready for the class. So you need to quickly switch to something else to make them a little more comfortable, relax, and slowly switch back to the subject. And once the teaching is over, the exams are written, the subject is forgotten. It's what generally happens in colleges. But yoga, it is different. At least in our school, I find it is different here. Here also, you need to know a bit of psychology of the student. You need to know them in and out practically before you give them the class. And they come on their own. The most important difference is they come on their own here. And there is transparency here. They're not forced anything. They're not forced to learn anything in this. You are there to give them what they want, not what you have, like how T Krishnamacharya said. Give what is inside you, but not what is applicable to you, but what is applicable to someone in the front. So you read them, you only cater to what they need and in the best possible way. That freedom that you have in this yoga teaching, you do not have in main academic teaching. especially in a school level or in a college level, undergrad level. Maybe the postgraduates are there on by wish. They like the subject, they want to come to the class. But undergrad level, you don't know. So that is the difference, I would say. But a bit of a psychology, communication, all those skills are required in both the fields.
And don't you think that there is also a very interesting difference that in the school or in the university, etc., the same curriculum is taught to everybody.
Precisely.
Whereas in the way we are doing the Viniyoga teaching, we are not really teaching the same thing to everybody.
Precisely. That's what, as I said, over there, you don't have a choice whether you like the subject, whether the students like the subject. The university decides what has to be taught. And even in a class, there generally the psychology says that you teach the average students. But a class consists of a very brilliant lot and not so average. But both of them are left out practically in the class. They are restless lot. And you teach to the average. So it ends there. There's no much of freedom there. But in our yoga, especially in our tradition, you teach only what is suitable to them, what they want to learn. And there is no pressure or force of there is a set of tools that I need to give it to them because I have it. No such thing. So it's more enjoyable this way. Yeah, but that is because one has to get a graduate degree, one has to do a master's degree. It's a parallel field altogether, I feel.
Now that you are teaching yoga, what is that doing to you? Because what I'm trying to ask is, in the yoga field, your evolution or transformation is not necessarily happening only during your training, but even after.
Very true.
Is it something that is also happening to you? What are the things that are happening to you now that you have started teaching?
Okay. Actually, I feel I'm a better student now after I started teaching. Because when you are doing the modules, you are under kind of a time frame where you're taught everything practically, but the module gets over, you get back home, again go for the second module, it's back-to-back modules you have. And then certain scriptures, we don't even turn the pages. We sit in the class, listen, take the notes, we are given the notes. But when I'm teaching now, I get back to my notes. This is something I think it's a common between this teaching and academic teaching. You need to get back to what you have studied, because if you have a doubt, it is automatically passed on to the student. You can't have any doubt about what you're teaching. So it's very important that, I think I have become a better student now. I don't know how good a teacher I am now, but I think I've become a better student because before every class, I go back to my notes and say, okay, this is what I'm going to teach today. How is it? I practice first and see how I feel about that, so that I know exactly how to, especially now it is a virtual thing, almost all 1 year, 1.5 years. We have got to be doubly sure about what we are teaching to the students when they are learning online, because now my students are online. They are learning, and I teach them through Skype or Zoom. I have to be doubly careful about, because I'm not there right next to them when I'm teaching that. So that is one part. Number two, I'm able to understand things better now than when we sat through the classes and took back-to-back so many subjects together. We didn't have time to introspect, I would say. Now when I read things, I think they make a lot of sense. Simply, if I have to give you a small example in this, I remember when we had our asana classes, simple Tadasana that we normally begin with. Always we were told, don't go on your toe fingers. Just raise your heel and make sure that you stretch your body. I never bothered to, okay, we blindly took it. But now when I'm going to teach my student, when they go on their toes, I need to see, okay, what happens? They become wobbly. I mean, this is something that I need to know before I tell them. So when I teach Tadasana today to my students, I tell them why they cannot go on the toe fingers, why they become wobbly, and the way it gets distributed to the outer part of the feet, the balance. So there are small little things which I feel I'm perfecting now when I'm teaching someone than when I was in the class as a student.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's true. We are always learning, and we learn more when we start teaching, because we are.
Yes.
we are asked questions that we never considered when we were students.
Yes, very true, Kausthub. Yes.
So in this topic of your teaching as well, what are the main challenges you face being a teacher to many students, especially you're teaching one-to-one so many students? What is your challenge? What is your main challenge, or maybe the main 2 or 3 challenges that you face?
First and foremost, most of them say, I have a few handful of students who I teach, and the age group between 35 and 69 technically. And all of them come with different doubts in their mind when they begin the classes. When I'm teaching a 65-year-old, the first thing that they tell me is, oh, I'm old, what kind of yoga can I do? But I still want to do something. And the first, they rush to add that I cannot do any poses, because everybody's mind, the moment you say yoga, only the asana practice goes in. It's very clear in everybody's mind. So first of all, I need to tell them that it's just one part of yoga. I need to reassure them that it's much beyond that. You can work with your breathing. You can work with your visualization. There are different other tools. So for them to even believe me first is a little difficult. For me to break the ice is very difficult. Once the ice breaking happens, slowly they get a little comfortable. And then suddenly, whenever they have some other health issues, they get a fear that, oh, is it due to what I'm practicing? Could be due to yoga practice. Then I have to get back to tell them that, no, it is this, it is this, it is this. So it takes a while for people to settle into this the yoga practice. And some are through the other system, basically. They have been through the other system and they have come to me. So it is a different thing when I'm kind of teaching them. They bring the kind of, okay, we can do this asana, we can do that asana. So what is that you're going to teach us? But then I ask them the same question. Okay, you've been through those schools. Why have you come here? My question to them is, why? What is that brought you here to this tradition? They say unanimously, I'm telling you this. I know we could do everything. We could bend our body. We could fix all the poses, everything. But something felt empty inside. He said, after going back home, we started wondering, how is it different from a gym? Even there we are stretching here. What is the big deal? We didn't get that joy inside. You know, the satisfaction, inner satisfaction was missing to them, the reason why they came here. And when I start here and it is little slow here, they are like, what can this do to us? This, your style of teaching is little slow, but for them to even realize that this is more relaxing, this is how they are supposed to begin, it takes a while. So they need to kind of sustain those initial phases. Then they are in the groove.
Yes.
That's what I feel. It takes a while for them to get used to the system, and they are in the groove then.
And as time goes, how do they embrace the Viniyoga tradition that you teach? Are they open? Are they feeling satisfied? All these kind of people, whether they are new to yoga or people who are coming from the different systems, or they are different people coming from the gyms, etc. How do they embrace it? Do they feel any resistance?
In my experience, I feel all of them are happy. The very reason why they are sustaining and continuing even now, almost 1.5 years, more than 1.5 years. And some people leave in between due to some other reason, but again connect back to me saying that no, we felt very good when we were doing it. We will want to continue the classes. So that is the only parameter that I think face of it, that I feel they are finding something different here that they did not find in any other school where they come from. And people who have started fresh here, they're very happy. They're very happy and they feel their energy levels are better. They feel that they're also, it's more like what do you call inclusive. They feel it's not like, yoga is meant for only youngsters. That kind of thing is gone from their head and they're very comfortable. Even if it is a simple breathing technique that I teach them, they're very happy. They clear their doubts. Unless they practice, they cannot have doubts. And the next class, they will ask me, I did this has happened, so how do I do this? that level kind of interest that they show is, I think, an indication that I don't generally ask them. I don't ask them to compare between the last class and this class. I mean, the previous school and this school, but they're all very happy here. So they seem to have some satisfaction inside that I think was missing in the earlier schools. I feel that.
Now, to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Has there been any situation or circumstance where you have felt that you are unable to teach somebody and have had to either stop teaching them or sending them to some other school or some other system because it was not easy to teach that person? And how did you manage that?
Maybe there was one incident where the student was not very comfortable. I think that was because of my limitation. It's not because of the limitation of the system. Perhaps that student needed a bit of a therapeutic training part, which I'm not equipped with. So I had to be very honest to tell her that she needs to see someone else to sort out the issues before we continue our practice, because I haven't done my therapy training yet. And one thing, Kausthub, I have to tell you that in this, when I teach in this system, I'm very clear what I can teach, what I cannot teach and will not teach. And that honesty I expect from the students also. And it's my limitation, I feel. Perhaps if I'm trained in therapy, perhaps I could have helped her with it.
Sure. And I think it's the reason I'm also talking about this is because there is always one system is not going to appeal to everybody. There is going to be always challenges, limitations.
Yes.
The system. It could be in the system. It could be in the teacher of that system, because sometimes I've also had difficulty to teach some students, mainly because of me, myself as well.
Yes.
Because maybe of my gender, maybe of my age, maybe of my culture, maybe of my personality, because sometimes I'm very funny and humorous. But for some other people, the students, they may need a serious teacher, or not a funny teacher. So there are many possibilities. And this is why I want to speak about this very openly, because there's not one system or one teacher who is the answer for all.
Yes, very true. Yes.
It's very important that we recognize that. And just because we are not able to reach some students, it doesn't mean that we are a failure.
No, not at all. Because all of us have, every human being has got limitations. And, it was, sometimes I think, I had the opportunity to train with your father, and we were all very unfortunate that we never had classes from him, though I just happened to see him just once when we had our classes. Perhaps I take it as in a positive way. When I say I cannot teach you this, first my ego gets humbled. One, to be very honest. Number two, I feel someday I need to learn this. Someday I need to learn this so that I can help someone else in the future. So there is nothing like I'm done. I want to stop here. No, I don't want to stop here. Perhaps when things get better, when the pandemic is over, when your classes resume, I really want to sign up for the therapy classes, because I feel a lot of people need yoga therapy at this point of time. Very important. It is, I think, a very useful therapy, which can go a long way in treating a lot of illnesses, I feel, which I need to learn first. Yeah.
I think you are very right that there will be a very big demand for alternative medicines in the future.
Yes.
It includes yoga, but not only yoga, but other systems, because more and more people, thanks to the pandemic, are actually realizing that they need to adopt systems that involve self-reflection, because this pandemic has not come just as an accident. It's very much, even though the origins may be one thing, but
yes,
the manner in which it has spread around the world is basically because of the kind of lifestyle we are leading. And this needs a bit of self-reflection to change and see how we can become better. So you are very right that this is going to change. Now, one thing that I want to ask you is, how does the Viniyoga teachings support you in your journey as a yoga student first, but now more importantly, as a yoga teacher? Because even when we are a teacher, we still need a lot of support and there is challenges that come. So how does the tradition support you?
I think in the almost my journey is about 6 years now, maybe about 6 years. And it's not that I have stopped in between to take stock of how much change has happened in me. I've never done that. But I think there have been a lot of changes within me in this system of being a student first and now being a teacher, that I have become more patient, first and foremost. I've become extremely patient with things around me, situations around me, and any upheavals in the in my personal lives. And I've learned to observe a lot, Kaustubh. That's one thing that I really want to tell you. I've become very observant now. More kind of, okay, this is happening now. How are we going to help this? How are we going to deal with this? I think I was more an agitated person earlier. I remember myself as a little hyper and kind of kind of getting angry slightly more than what I am now. I feel I'm calmed down a lot. And when I teach students, I think you need immense patience when you have to teach students. It could be a simple breathing technique. For example, when you teach someone, okay, connect with your breath. This is what you tell them. Observe your breath. Invariably, they become conscious and they start. You'll have to wait them and tell them that no, I'm not telling you to work on your breaths. Small things. You need to begin at such a small level. I don't know which other tradition is doing this and how much time they have for each student to tell them observing your breath is different from working on your breath. You just be an observer. Even that is so difficult for a lot of people. I feel constantly I'm in touch with you, and the books, I mean, they are, I think, the treasure trove, I would say. The books that I've collected from the thing, every now and then I keep reading it. Whenever I go through what is happening in my life, what is happening in maybe a student's life, I try to turn the pages to see whether there is any help from that. Invariably I chance upon some quotation, something, or something that indirectly kind of tells me, okay, this is how it is. Indirect it is, but somewhere there is a help I get from somewhere, and I feel good about that. That helps me as well as my the students when I try to teach them. So patience, observation, and very intuitive. I've become more intuitive than before. I remember asking you had given us an assignment when we were our students, whether we were intuitive, any experience with intuition. I don't know why you gave that. Perhaps you can tell me now why you gave that kind of kind of assignments as have you ever been intuitive? I don't know whether you remember, Kaustubh. Perhaps this was
Of course,
the first module or second module.
I think it was probably the first module. Yeah, the reason I give that is because in spiritual systems like yoga, like Ayurveda, etc., the role for intuition is very, very important. The role for intuition is very, very important. And we all have intuition. We are just not connecting with
it. Right.
What you just said now,
yes,
is a great example of that, because in the past you were probably not as intuitive, and now you're saying, oh, I'm becoming more intuitive. And this is because of your practice, your evolution, the fact that you are more observing now. And this will only develop even more as you go forward.
Yes, right.
Experience. So intuition is something that we must never remove from our system. And that is the great thing about traditions that are traditional, like yoga, Ayurveda from India, Siddha, but also from other traditional systems like Chinese medicine or the Maori healing methods. There are many, many systems which are traditional around the world, and they use a lot of intuition. So it's very important to develop that.
Right, correct.
So as you were talking a little bit about the books, I also know that you together with some of your classmates are very often studying together the Yoga Sutra. So I have two questions on that. The first question is, why are you so fascinated by Mr. Patanjali?
You know, I keep telling people that the Yoga Sutra is like Bible to, I think, the field of yoga. I tell them, I feel he's covered practically everything in it. It could be, I haven't done very descriptive study of Yoga Sutra. And the very fact that my proficiency in Sanskritam is very bad, I still have to work on that. But my friends would, perhaps if you talk to them, they would say that even when you do your presentations on YouTube on Yoga Sutras, it's very convenient for me to put on my earplugs and listen to that, because it makes me very comfortable to listen to that from your YouTube. I think he has practically spoken about yoga as a science. It is as a science. It is. It is not like one of those, the modern kind of a thing that, like, oh, I carry a mat and I wear a skimpy dress and I walk, I practice yoga. No, I think it is more, it's a very scientific. And Patanjali, I think, is, I can't believe so many years ago, what he had given holds good even today. Even today. I just chanced upon your, very recently, Heyam Dukkam Anagat, the speech that you had given on that. Don't feel or be in misery anticipating some dukkam to come. And a lot of us do that even now. Lot of us do that, anticipating even now. Oh my God, maybe there'll be a third wave. Oh, maybe there'll be a third wave. What is going to happen to my profession? What is going? It is not there. Third wave hasn't come. The pandemic has not touched the third wave. But we are already anticipating and worrying about it. Imagine Patanjali could foresee this thousands of years ago. He will never be out of sync. I think even after 1,000 years, when you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, it will still hold good. I feel that.
But don't you think that if Patanjali's teaching is so relevant now,
yes,
about 3,000, 4,000 years after he has written, it also is a sign that we as human beings, we have really not learned our lesson, because we are still making the same mistakes.
Same mistakes, right? And he knew that we will make the same mistakes. That is the beauty of it. See, these scriptures, I think live for, many generations or many centuries or many thousand years. And they were so brilliant with their writing that they knew that the human mind will always be the same at any point of time. And evolving, I think once you evolve, you reach the next stage, but I think what he clearly said is exactly holds good even today. It will hold good even tomorrow, even thousands of years.
Which sutra? This is the second question. Which sutra is your favorite sutra, and why?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Among the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is your favorite sutra, and why?
I don't know. I remember this Sthira Sukha Asana. Is it mentioned by Patanjali?
Yes, right. 46.
I think that holds good for even the asana practice. Whenever I personally feel, whenever a student is struggling to be in a particular pose, we never push them. We tell them what matters is you have to be comfortable and you have to be steady. So to any posture that you want to teach a student, I think these two things are extremely important. So I feel it's like a guideline to me. Whenever I teach asanas to my students, when they are wobbly and when they are not comfortable, when I see their faces and they are struggling, maybe they are steady, but they are not happy. The face shows it. So I tell them, no, you are still not there. It's okay. You don't have to do that. So I feel, to me, it's a very, my favorite sutra it is.
Well, we accept that. It's very well said. In that same connection, in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra as well, Patanjali has talked about so many different tools of yoga, and we also teach all the tools of yoga in
Yes.
our tradition, not just asana. Among all the tools, which is your favorite tool and why?
You're asking about in my practice, what is my favorite or what
Yes,
I
yes,
teach?
your personal practice, your size,
I
your life.
personally like pranayama because I have reached a stage where, remember, you have taught how at brahmacharya they do more of asanas, and then you come to grihastha, then it is 50 more of asana and less of pranayama, then you come to grihastha position. I think I'm at an age where I'm very comfortable with pranayama than with asanas. Simple asanas, yes, of course, our style we have, since it is breathing related, we give more importance even while doing asanas. We give importance to breathing, even that is a kind of pranayama, I think. Even asanas are a kind of pranayama when you do it with breath coordination. And pranayama is personally my thing. And I also do it with small mantras incorporated into that. And I like visualization a lot. Thanks to Evelyn, who taught us a meditation. If she's watching this video now or sometime in the future, I want to thank her through this media that she was extremely good with her meditation classes, which imagine her classes used to be always from 11:30 to 12:30 in the morning. After that, we used to break for lunch. And normally we used to start, I think, by 7 in the morning. Kausthub, I remember, used to start by 7 in the morning. So technically, her class in the morning session used to be her class used to be the last. But she was brilliant with the meditation classes, and there were times that she would finish the class and leave the hall silently, and we weren't even aware. We were in that kind of a state that it was very intense. So I picked up interest there, and even now I like to do like the tool of visualization. And a lot of my students, surprisingly, they are also very happy with it. I mean, whatever, if it is possible for them to do, they're very happy with it. So that is another tool. But having said that, it can't be like I give what I like. For some small chance, a lady, as I told you, 68-year-old, she was a great devotee of Lord Hanuman. She was more into the, what you call chants. So I would give her a small Hanuman single line, or half a thing of, and incorporate it in her pranayama. She was extremely happy with it. She was very happy. She felt that she was in the bhakti mode at that point of time. So yeah, that is the thing. But there are a lot of other tools that, if required, people will be given that. I personally like pranayama with mantra chants in between.
That's very good. That's very good. So one more question that I have is that what, because many, I am sure many women also come to you for classes, and we have a lot of women now coming to our school for the classes, not in this pandemic moment, we are doing online. But many of them, especially the women, I feel they have a lot more pressure from society to be a certain way, to appear a certain way, and so they are very much anxious and obsessed about how their body shape is, how their weight is, and things like that. Now, what is your approach to deal with them, and how do you help them to come back to accept and embrace their body as it is? Because women's body go through a lot of changes, much more than men's.
I agree with you. And as you correctly said, my students are, as I said, from 35 to 68, and more of women students I have. And yes, sometimes they do feel that we are like this, we are like this. Some are too thin, they feel, I don't know why I'm like a stick. People think that I'm like a stick, and a lot of dresses I can't carry. And some are like, oh, I'm so fat and I don't even get my sizes in it is there always, but it's, I think, our responsibility as I think, as a woman teacher, I tell them that it is okay, it's okay, it's not what they are outside. I try to tell them this, it's perfectly okay. And at least in this yoga class, you don't have to worry, be conscious about your body. It doesn't matter. You can do what you can do, is perfectly okay. And it's very difficult for people. this feeling has come from the society. So to some extent, you can help them with positive words, saying that it is okay, it's fine, it's beyond this. Your practice is beyond what you look. And then slowly some people get comfortable, some are, yes. I mean, I myself do not know how to make them feel, get out of that thought, because it is so, for generations it has gone, right from your advertisements on the screen. That's why I said in one of my blogs earlier, the yoga magazines again carry a very slim girl practicing yoga. Why is that? They don't go to even a middle-sized woman on that. Even our own field is projecting the body image there. I don't know why. So when I turned the books once, when Sri Krishnamacharya is teaching a student who's quite bulky and who's able to do beautifully in Padmasana, and he's teaching them, I feel it is possible. It is nothing to do. The flexibility is different from what the body is. I tell them that you can be more flexible even with the body is nothing to do with it. And the shoulders droopy because they're conscious all the time. To push the shoulders back, they get uncomfortable. It's very common here in India at least.
Yeah.
In India, it's very common, and they're all the time told to, walk carefully, not walk this way, not walk that way. All those things are put in the mind. It's going to take a lot of time for them to come out. At least in this 1 hour, they forget their body. I'm happy about it. I don't know whether I can help them beyond that.
That's very good. That's very good. Now, one more question, probably the last question. Traditionally, yoga has been looked at as only something that was reserved for men. And of course, we are now living in also in India, at least you and me, which is also still to some degree a majority patriarchal society where there is a men dominance. And in this kind of society, how does it feel for you to be a woman yoga teacher? And what do you think about that?
See, personally, I feel my age is to my advantage. And today I get to see a lot of women teachers, yoga teachers. The reason could be that, see, whatever you say, I think teaching profession as such, women are very comfortable. And India has accepted that. India has accepted that there can be women teachers. And those days, teaching was right from, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 years ago, we had lady professors in college. So teaching and medicine were considered perfectly fine for women. So I don't think it is patriarchal in all over the world. I think there are plenty of amazing teachers doing brilliant jobs. It is just like I feel, the cooking industry, Kausthub, if I can give you a small example, draw a parallel here. The best chefs and the master chefs that you see on the screen, most of them are men. But even they go back home asking what's for dinner. End of the day, it is the women who are silently doing a brilliant job in each and every kitchen, and they are much more than, so popularity is different, and who are actually doing in a very beautiful way is completely different. So I feel even in yoga, there are beautiful teachers doing extremely well, and youngsters are taking to it these days. So I think it's not patriarchal. I feel that it's not. And I have never faced questions like why, never, never. And men are comfortable learning from me. The very fact that, I have two students, so one is almost 62 and the other one was 30 plus, very comfortable. I think India is changing now, maybe. I feel India is changing. And it's for good, changing for good, in this aspect at least.
Yeah, definitely we see much more openness now in our society than it was probably in the time of my grandfather or even my father's generation, my mother's generation. It was quite different then compared to what it is now. So we are in a good time now, and I'm very sure that this will only continue into the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. A lot of youngsters are learning now, and if you open the YouTube today, and you will have more of the lady teachers, yoga teachers than I think men, or maybe I don't see. Sorry, men, if there are somebody there out there. No, I don't know that. But I think, if not on equal numbers, pretty close to the figures of.
I think in India we are more or less equal numbers of men and women are coming to the classes. But when we go outside of India, especially to the Western countries, for example, or even in countries like Japan, China, Korea, etc., I've seen that the majority, very big majority of the students and the teachers also, therefore, are actually women, which is wonderful news as well. It's a vast majority, almost like 70 to 80% of the students are women, which is very remarkable. And in India, we still see an equal number. It's not because women in the West are more interested or more better than the man or things like that. I think the thing is, the perception about yoga is a little bit different outside the India. And so many people, I've spoken to many men who do not practice the yoga, who are like the husbands of the ladies that come to my classes. Many men from there, they have this idea that yoga is for women. They don't think that yoga is universal.
Ah, okay.
That's a big difference, and I hope that perception will change.
So we will have to go with a T-shirt again. Yoga is for all. You know, that seems to be I think to me really thinks that's the best, because T-shirts are very popular. The captions on T-shirts are very popular. Yoga is for all.
Janaki, looks like you're changing your business from yoga teacher to t-shirt designer.
Any way we can reach, why not? That's what I feel.
Anyway, is there something finally that you want to tell the audience who are listening to you today?
First of all, I want to thank them if somebody is listening to us for taking time off to be here to listen to us. And if they're already the tradition, yes, we are all a family out there in different parts of the world. If they are not, I think they can give a try. I seriously feel somebody should, because you need to change the mindset first. It is just awareness. What is yoga? What is yoga? It starts there. So I think it's going to be very important in the future for somebody to practice yoga in a very traditional way. I mean, not in the modern way, in a traditional way, because the world is now groping in dark. We don't know how to deal with the situation. And it's not just about the virus attack and people falling sick with corona. It's not about that. The mental turmoil that people are going through, the anxiety that people are going through, and abuses that people face. You need a different set of tools to deal with these problems. The pharma companies come out with medication and your vaccination. But what about the other mental issues? Yoga is addressing that, how to stay calm at any situation. I think yoga has good tools to teach. So I'm sure someday or other, the whole world will take this seriously. The time has come, I think. And I'm very happy to be, it's like getting it, I got into this such as if, somebody took my hand and put me into this. So I should thank Shailaja for this, to give an intro about you, to you rather. And yeah, I remember having a chat with her after I had a discussion with you, asking her, do you think I should go, Shailaja? And she's like, ma'am, try. I think you will enjoy it. And I said, Shailaja, are you aware of my age? She said, yes, ma'am. I was your student, so I know your age. So please go ahead. It will be fine for you. I think I should thank Shailaja for, kind of encouraging me to get into this. And life is different now, Kausthub. So thanks to this tradition and the beautiful family that we had there as my batchmates from different parts of the world, I hope and pray that, everybody's happy and dealing with a given situation in a better way, however possible. And thank you so much for bringing me onto this. I just hope what is there inside me. I don't know any complicated things, because I'm like a small nursery sapling in amidst big giants out there. And so I gave a nursery kids perspective to this tradition. That's it.
You are too humble. Actually, some of your classmates are listening in. I see Mila listening in.
Mila, so
She's
Mila.
listening in, and Shailaja is also, I think, listening. I see her commenting. But
Okay.
she is supposed to have her vaccination today, so maybe she's listening while waiting for the vaccination. So
Okay, okay. So
you're
I
all
will say hi
together.
to Mila and long time, and we were lucky to have such a close knit batch. Though we were, it's an international batch, it is from different parts of the world. We gelled so well. I cannot forget those days, miss those days.
I always tell the future batches that your batch was the most, let's put it this way, exciting batch that you ever dealt with. To be very politically correct, the most exciting and revolutionary batch that we had, given all
Oh,
the interesting characters who were part of your group.
oh, yes, sir. No, I mean, we used to look forward to our modules. I still remember. I even had a fracture just before I broke my ankle. I remember before second module.
I remember.
I wore a cast and came there, and that is when Evelyn told me about the power of visualization during asana classes. She said, "You can visualize sitting on the chair, you can do." I learned it. Today, I'm able to help so many people with it. Sitting on chair, how to do yoga. So, amazing experience we had, and miss all of them, and love to all my friends out there, wherever they are. And
It's, yeah, they're all listening in, and yes, it was a wonderful, wonderful time we had with that.
oh yes, amazing. Wish we could get back for a second, course, all of us practically.
It would be fun. Anyway, thank you, Janaki, for being part of this series, and thank you all, friends, for being part of this series and listening to Janaki's wonderful talk. And we will meet again in a few weeks' time. We will announce the next talk in a few days. So please keep your diaries open. Namaste, friends, and
Thank you.
namaste, Janaki.
Thank you so much, Kausthub. Thank you all so much.